Hi, so we're going to talk about converting one-dimensional units. So a one-dimensional unit is a linear measurement that measures from one point to another, often used in length. So in the United States of America, we use a customary measurement of feet, inches, yards, miles. We're going to be talking about feet and inches today and how you can convert feet to inches. So one thing that's good to know is that 1 foot equals 12 inches. So if you'd like to know how many inches you have, you can multiply the number of feet you have by 12. So you can see here, if I have 4 feet, and kind of think of it as a bar model. I can have 1 foot, 1 foot, 1 foot, 1 foot, so it's a total of 4 feet. And each of those is equivalent to 12 inches. So I could think of that as 4 groups of 12. 4 times 12 is 48. So 4 feet equals 48 inches. So let's try it with another problem. If I have 6 feet, I could think to myself, well, I have 6 groups, 12. So that would equal 72 inches. So 6 feet is equivalent to 72 inches. Now, you might have cases where you need to convert inches to feet. In this case, you would divide by 12. So if you have 36 inches, you could divide that by 12, and you would know that you would have 3 feet. So you know you have 36 inches. You're dividing that so that there's 12 in each group. You would have a total of 3 groups. Okay, so 60 inches. 60 divided by 12 is 5. So 60 inches is the same as or equivalent to 5 feet. So let's think of some times you might actually use this in your life. Actually, measurements you'll use almost every day in your life. So Carla has 2 lengths of ribbon. One ribbon is 2 feet long, and the other ribbon is 30 inches long. Which length of ribbon is longer? Well, we've learned that if I have 2 feet, I can convert that to inches by multiplying. There's 12 inches in each foot, and I have 2 feet, so 2 times 12 equals 24 inches. The other length of ribbon we know is 30 inches. So you can see that the 30-inch ribbon is the longer ribbon. Now, another way you could have solved this is you could have thought, well, I have 30 inches. Maybe I want to convert that to feet and compare the feet. Well, if you were to try that, then you'd have to do 30 and divide it by 12. And you would see that you would be left with, let's put a decimal in there, add a 0. 60 divided by 12 is 5. So you would have a total of 2.5 feet. So you could compare those again and see that if you're comparing feet, that 2.5 feet is greater than 2 feet. So that length of ribbon is longer. Okay, now another unit of measurement that we use to measure one-dimensional objects is meters. And this is the metric system. So this is what almost everybody else in the world uses except for the United States of America. And one thing you need to know there is if you have 1 meter, that is equivalent to or the same as 100 centimeters. So if you have a meter and you'd like to know how many centimeters you have, you would multiply the number of meters by centimeters. So if I have 5 meters, I can think to myself, 5 times 100 is 500. 5 meters equals 500 centimeters. So if I were to have 9 meters, I could think, well, there's 100 centimeters in each meter. I have 9 meters, therefore I would have 900 centimeters. You can also convert centimeters to meters. So taking a smaller unit and converting it to a larger unit. So if you do this, you need to divide your centimeters by 100. So if you have 300 centimeters, you would need to divide that by 100. And 300 divided by 100 is 3. So 300 centimeters is equivalent to or the same as 3 meters. Okay, let's try another one. If we had 1,200 centimeters, we wanted to convert that to meters, we would know that we need to divide that by 100. Well, 1,200 divided by 100 is 12. So 1,200 centimeters is the same as or equal to 12 meters. So let's talk about the time you might need to use that. Let's see, this problem says, in PE class you run laps around the track. The teacher says that each lap is 400 meters. You want to know how many centimeters that is. Well, let's see, we have 400 meters, and we'd like to know how many centimeters that is. Well, we know that if I'm going to find the meters, I need to, or if I need to find the centimeters, I'm going to times by 100 because 1 meter is equivalent to 100 centimeters. So if I have 400 meters, I would need to times that by 100 to find the centimeters. And that would give me 40,000 centimeters. Wow, that sounds a lot further than 400 meters. So let's talk about why you would need to know this. Well, in order to compare measurements of any item in one-dimensional shape, they need to be in the same unit of measurement. It makes it a lot easier. And countries have developed a standardized measurement so that everybody is measuring the same length. Because if you were to measure by feet, some people's feet are bigger than other people's feet. So having a standardized measure of inches and feet or meters and centimeters allows everybody to get the same measurement or a correct measurement. It also makes measurements more practical and easier to read. So like with our last problem, it had 40,000 centimeters. It might be easier to say 400 meters. And then it allows the precision needed to build things. It allows people to be precise in their measurements, which is very important when you're building a house or other things. They need to be exact or it won't be stable and strong. Thanks.